So after downloading Power BI Desktop, you want to launch your new application and let's see what the environment looks like. So I'm going to come to my search pane and I'm going to type Power BI. So I want to launch my Power BI Desktop. So the first time you launch Power BI Desktop, you get to see this pop-up box over here. So what you need to do is, for you to work with Power BI Desktop, you have to close this pop-up. So I'm just going to come here and I'll close this guy. Then I'll close every other pop-up I come across. So I just want to have a plain view like this without any pop-ups on the screen. So the first thing I think you should do is go and click on File. So when you click on File, go to Options and Settings, and under Options and Settings I want you to go to Options, then select Preview Features. So preview features are new features that Power BI releases from time to time, but then they are not yet generally available. So I would like you to check every box you find there. So I'm going to check every box except Spanish language support, because I don't understand Spanish. I'm not going to need that. So check every box you find on the preview features, click OK. So you're going to receive a warning that you may have to restart Power BI Desktop. So you probably have to do that. Click OK. Then you have to restart your Power BI Desktop. Then you come back and we're back on the same page. So this is Power BI Desktop. We have quite a number of things going on within this environment. You get used to it as time goes on. But first I'm going to navigate you through this Power BI Desktop interface so you'll be able to follow along with the videos. So there are 5 core areas that you have to be familiar with. The first one is what we have at the top here. So these are the tabs and the ribbon. So these tabs, so underneath each tab you have a ribbon that has a couple of commands. So we have the Home tab, we have Insert tab, we have Modeling tab, Help, and View. Okay, so the Home tab basically usually contains the things that you use from time to time, everything you need every now and then. You get them from the Home tab. So we have stuff on Insert, we have stuff on Modeling, we have stuff on View, we have stuff on Help. So if I go to the Help tab, for example, and I click on About, so this info about, so this is going to tell me that my Power BI Desktop is December 2019 version. So December version of Power BI. So you might want to check what version you are currently using as well. So what we have at the tops are the tabs. Underneath each tabs, you have ribbon commands. So that's section 1 of the user interface. You should get used to tabs. Section 2 is what you have on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, by default, you can see 3 things here. So these are called the panes, or more or less the panel. So what is a panel? Panel usually is where you have a couple of tools that you want to use for various settings or stuff like that. So we have the filters panel, which you may have guessed is used anytime you need to filter a report or you need to filter a chart. We have the visualizations panel, which you may also have guessed is where you tend to choose, or where you get to choose the type of visual that you would like to represent a report. Then we have the fields panel. So fields panel basically just contains a list of data headings you have in your data. So all these things are going to come to life when we bring in data. So we have the filters pane, we have visualizations pane, and we have the fields pane. So these 3 you can see by default. But if I go to my View tab and I can click something like bookmarks. So as you can see, this section is for show panes. So I have filters pane on. If I activate bookmarks, I'll have a bookmarks pane. If I activate selection, I'll have a selection pane and stuff like that. But then I don't want this guy, so I'm just gonna deactivate selection pane, deactivate bookmarks pane, then I'll leave my filters pane on. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the home tab. So we have 3 panels or 3 panes: filters pane, visualizations pane, and the fields pane. So that makes it 2 things now. Number 1, you have your tabs at the top, you have your panes on the right hand side. You know where we're going next. We are going to the bottom of the page where we have the page numbers. So for every report, you might have different pages of reports. So by default, you always have 1 page, and you see this plus icon here that says new page. So if I want to create another page, I'm going to click on new page. I could rename my pages by right clicking on the page and select to rename. I can duplicate a page, I can delete a page, and I can hide a page. So I don't need page 2 for now, so I'm just going to delete this. Delete. Alright, so if you have your pen and you've been taking notes, so you would see we now have 3 things covered on the user interface. What we have at the top, the tabs and the ribbon. What we have on the right hand side, the panes. What we have at the bottom of the page numbers. And on the left hand side here, we have the views. So you see these 3 icons. So these are the different views of the interface that you are seeing. So by default, we are always on report view. So I could go to data view and you see everything changes. So on the data view is where you get to see your data live, all the columns, all the rows, all the data you have there. You get that from the data view. Then we have the model view, where you basically want to create links, connections, and relationships between the different data sources that you are bringing in. We'll get to see what model view is going to serve us later on. So by default, we are always on report view. So I'm just going to come back to report view. So now we've covered 4 things: the tabs at the top, the panes on the right hand side, the pages at the bottom of the page, and then we have the views on the left hand side. So what have we not talked about? We've really not talked about the center of the page. So this white area you see here is called the canvas. So more or less like a blank sheet of paper. So 2 ways to look at the canvas is: you have a blank sheet of paper where you want to write your reports, or you have a real estate land where you want to build a house, or you want to build houses, basically an estate. So you have to manage this properly. You have to manage your page properly, your sheet of paper, you want to manage it properly, you want to manage your land properly. So the canvas is basically where you have to create the different reports that you would like to build.